Masters and Johnson trained sex therapist Dagmar O'Connor is our guest, and our phone lines are open. And I was just saying to Dagmar, whenever anyone on the show says, just sit down and talk, I kind of get a feeling that the callers must be saying, oh, I've heard that before, but he won't talk. Can you go beyond that for this last caller?
Absolutely. I often get a question is, how do I get my husband to read this book? And I said the best way to get him to read it is not to start with, look, it says in here that you do da-da-da-da-da. What you do is you open the book and you say, I got to realize that this is what I'm doing wrong, and this is useful for me, and I really need to work on this. You'd be much more open to the book and to anything you want to say. And to anybody, it's important to share your own feelings about something.
Is reading a book enough, or do some people really need the sex therapy? I mean,
I think for some people you should start with a book, and then if you get stuck, I think sex therapy is very useful because it helps you, if you don't have the discipline, to just stick by a program in a book.
You can't pick up this book without having sex on your mind. I've got, after the first 10 pages, it's very explicit, but very good. Let's take another call. Good morning, you're on Good Day.
Hi, this is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
I'm in a 10-year marriage where my husband and I are very happy in every aspect, but now we seem to be bored and there's no spark, and our sex life is down to maybe 3 or 4 times a month, and we both want to stay together, but I guess it's the boredom that's tearing us apart.
Who's the least willing of the partners to really kind of get involved in lovemaking? You or him?
It varies. Sometimes he's much more willing, and, you know, I have 2 children, so I just get caught up in the laundry and the kids.
Sure.
And then when I'm a little bit more willing, he works long hours, he went to school full-time, we built a house, and we both seem to have different times in our life when we were busy, and now we're at a point that we can be together. Our children are a little bit older, and now we're at a boredom stage.
So
there's no spark again.
Again, a call we can all relate to.
That's right. Remember also that boredom is only a surface feeling. There's a lot of feelings underneath boredom, feeling trapped, feeling anxious, and it's important to find out what that's all about. And I would like to know what happened and when it happened, and to see what you could do to figure out what the point of its stopping was. But also, the way to start is to start with the exercises. And just schedule your time in, whether you feel like doing it or not. People say, I can't do this. I don't feel like doing it. I say, if you really want to do it, don't worry about your feelings, because they're going to indicate resistance at this point. Just schedule yourself in and do it.
Let's go through this. The first week, you've already explained 15 to 45 minutes of touching, not sexual. Now, after this, you're going to take it. I'm not going to do it.
All right. To explain the first week is the most important part of therapy. And that's what most people say, oh, we know how to touch. Let's get to the serious stuff. And I say, no. Try to stay with this week. When the first person has been touched, and they have had enough, they stop it, the other one is being touched. And no cheating. And what is important is, if you get turned on and you want any sexual release, self-stimulation is the way to go, and to share it. And to take some of that out of the closet, I think, is important. And it becomes a real step towards intimacy.
What do you gain by non-sexual touching?
What you gain is to feel your feelings. What most people do is they're only aware of the part of sexuality and sensuality that's right before orgasm. And what I want them to get in touch with is low-level arousal. It's the feelings in the very beginning, is to feel more intensely when you're being touched. You remember the first time somebody held your hand, that you were just dating and you were a teenager. It was so exciting, it was so sensual, it was so sexual. It's because you allowed yourself to feel it. And I want them to spread those feelings just into touches, because you get a much richer feeling. And in those touches, see, when we were held as little babies, we were stroked and touched, and that's what we remember as feelings. A lot of people rush through sexuality and they miss the feeling part.
It's interesting. And again, you go back to the issue of time.
Yes.
I've only got 20 minutes before I really want to be asleep, because
Plus, you get anxious when you're being touched. And then when your mind starts wandering, if you're anxious, it's a clear sign that your mind goes to your laundry list and the food shopping and the bills. That's anxiety. Pull it back. Stay with these feelings.
All right, let's take another call. Good morning, you're on Good Day.
Hi, my name is Jack.
Hi, Jack.
My wife and I have been married for about 6 years. I have a 3-year-old daughter and a 9-month-old boy. And it seems like my wife has a tendency to regulate when we will have sex, in that if we wake up a few times in the evening, I may try to initiate it, and then after I've failed a few times, she'll go ahead and initiate it later, and it's almost like it's okay for her. And the other side of the coin is, too, is that in the morning after, she sounds like she's joking about it, but she says, well, I ought to hold you up for a few days.
Ought to hold you off for a few days?
Yeah.
Is that, you have young children.
Yes.
She's tired.
Well, she works less than I do. I have a recent injury at work that I'm on workman's compensation. I have been since about the first of the year, and will be for about the next 3 or 4 months. And I do a lot around the house, and that I clean and things like that, so that it's not a burden on her. And she usually works about 4 to 5 hours a day, 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah, but then she comes home and she does some work too. The point is, he's sounding angry at her. It doesn't.
I think
isn't
they
he?
both sound angry at each other. It sounds like they have gotten stuck in a power struggle. And that happens often. Okay, you want it, then I don't want it. And the marital power struggles are very common. That's why they take turns touching. It's important to practice. Very often in a relationship, one person's active and one is passive. And that works just fine. But when they switch roles, for instance, women become the active touchers and the men are learning to be passive, then things get uncomfortable. It's when it's uncomfortable you need to work on it.
So you're saying bring some equality into
Yes.
your lovemaking.
And she also needs to feel that sexuality is for her, not for him. And it's
that's a real
important
point,
to
isn't it?
get really selfish here. And for her to say, I need this for me. I don't just need it to satisfy him.
Move beyond the touching into week 2 and week 3.
Yes.
For us.
Eventually, they will go on. But I would encourage anybody who does this to stay on the first week. Then you gradually include genitals as if they were just part of the rest of your body. Without a performance, in the very beginning, don't even go to orgasm. Just feel the sensations and then gradually go on to the actual insertion and the penetration. And even there, take it slow. The first time, just stay still and feel it. I call it a nice visit, without any performance or thrusting or anything. It's important that we get feeling-oriented and not performance-oriented.
Okay, another call. Good morning, you're on Good Day.
Hi, my name's Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
And I'm just wondering, my fiancé and I have been living together for 7 years, and we have 2 children. And we've gotten into a routine now where it's just a kiss in the morning, a kiss goodnight, and maybe once a week we might get out, but usually we stay home with the children and everything. And we're getting married in 16 months. And I'm just wondering, how can we get the spark back into it? Because I don't want to continue this routine into my marriage. And it is mostly me. I know you asked a question, but it is mostly me that withdraws because I've gained like 30 pounds, so I'm really like, I'm too fat, you know?
Well, and Jenny brings up a good point. If you don't feel that great about your body, would you be apt to go for this touching, this first week of touching? Because that clearly means you don't have clothes on, you know that you're very visible. I mean, it's hard. It's difficult.
It's very difficult. Most women don't like their bodies. It's amazing how critical women are, regardless of whether they're overweight or not. I mean, a very good-looking woman may believe that she's overweight because there's an image in her head of it. It's important for women to learn to like their bodies. And the way to do that is to look at your body every day in the mirror without clothes and to get used to it. It's much harder to imagine that your body is ugly if you look at it all the time. And you look from the vantage point, not the way the figure looks, but for lines that are pretty and for just good things. Try to every day look for 5 good things that you really like about yourself.
This book is good. There are several that have come down the pike with similar titles, but I think of all of them, I think this one is the best. It is explicit, but you know, that's really what readers want. I mean, it has very, very detailed information in it, and it's called How to Put the Love Back into Making Love. Dagmar, thank you. Do you have a good marriage?
Definitely.
Do you? I bet you do. Okay.